Hello, and welcome to Women in Retail Talks, the podcast where C-suite executive women in the retail space share their stories of professional growth, leadership development, personal journeys, and more. I'm Marie Albajes, managing editor of Women in Retail, a membership-based community of executive women at leading retailers and brands. Today, I am so excited to be joined by Amina Pasha, the Chief Marketing Officer of Thrive Market, which specializes in organic, healthy groceries. We'll be discussing Thrive Market's commitment to sustainability, how Amina sees the role of the CMO changing, and how she keeps her teams motivated and inspired to continue innovating. So, Amina, I'm going to bring you in. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you so much. I'm super excited to be here with you
I
today.
am too. Thank you. So I want to first jump into talking about how Thrive Market is celebrating 10 years this year. So happy anniversary.
Yes, it's a pretty big milestone. It's intertwined with my milestone too. So I'm 5 years. I'm celebrating my half Thrive life is what I'm calling it. But we're really excited this past November to celebrate 10 years. There have been a lot of, mission milestones, brand milestones, just been accomplished in the span of these 10 years. It's hard to imagine that we have done all of those things in that time span, when many of those things can take multiple years to happen. So we're very excited about it.
I know. I mean, Thrive Market is almost like a household name at this point. So I'd love for you to walk us through just kind of what the company is about. It's, from its humble beginnings until now, how has the brand's mission changed over time? Give us kind of the overview.
Yeah, sure. So the company was founded in 2014, and the mission is actually one area that has never really changed. Our mission has always been our North Star. It's all about making healthy and sustainable living easy and affordable for everyone. Every single word of that mission statement has been absolutely instrumental in all the actions and the steps that we've laid. In the early days, we started off with these Thrive Gives program. So it's a one-to-one matching program because we are a paid membership as well. And so with every paid membership, we offer another membership to a family in need, a first responder, a student, veteran, or teacher. And that has been a very pivotal part of our mission from the inception. But our mission activations have evolved. And so in 2020, we launched a big campaign. It was called the Food Equality Now campaign. We had seen what was going on with COVID, and we really wanted to improve the food inequality we were seeing in the US. About 54 million Americans had been impacted. And so we put our stake in the ground and said we're going to raise $10 million in healthy groceries and stipends to give back. We were able to surpass that goal, and to date, we've raised about $16 million. So our new goal is to raise 20 million by 2030. And we are well towards that path over the next year or so. Our mission has also evolved in the sense that we are now accepting SNAP and EBT. This one itself has taken, quite frankly, probably 9.5 years of the 10 years that we've been in existence. From the early days, we started off petitioning with the USDA. Past few years, we really worked behind the scenes to really push on this legislation to really open up to online grocers. And this February, we were really proud to announce that we are the first online grocer to accept EBT SNAP online. And, we don't want to be the only one. We also want to pave the way for the industry. And we're now seeing other brands being accepted that are pure play online grocery stores. And that is actually really our key mission, is how do we, be the catalyst for change, not just for ourselves, but for the industry. And so those are some key highlights of our mission. The last one is really around sustainability, and this was one of the key reasons I joined the company. It's from the day, we started the company, the founders were very adamant that we start it the right way. It's not just what we do, but how we do it. And so we set up all of our fulfillment centers to be zero waste. We were really putting active efforts in already reducing carbon and our footprint there. And so coming in, really what I did was just round all of that and make sure we got the credit for it. And so what we then did was really go and get our fulfillment centers certified. So they're all zero waste certified. We got our first B Corp certification, and we're the largest grocer to do so. And we are also now a public benefit corporation. So our commitment to sustainability has been a key part of our mission as well. And so you can see the mission vision has stayed the same, but the path and the actions and the steps and the progress we've made have been a continuous evolvement to making that mission come to life.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, you touched on a lot of things that I want to ask you about in more detail, but first I'm wondering, you said that your mission has always been on healthy and sustainable living. As a marketer, how do you ensure that that mission is communicated to your customers, to your members in a way that, we talk about greenwashing, we talk about, not talking the talk but not walking the walk. So how do you make sure that as a marketer your customers are attuned to what is going on behind the scenes and that your mission is very clearly articulated?
Yeah, it's a great question. So with us, we've always been the underdog brand where the actions have spoken louder than words. And so within the marketing team, we continue to say focus on acts versus ads. If the actions are not there, there's no need to broadcast and do the storytelling. And so we've been very intentional about setting not just milestones, but metrics for all of our mission goals, right? And so like food equality was one where if we hadn't put the stake in the ground that we're going to raise 10 million by 2025, it just doesn't happen, right? So we treat our mission goals just like our business goals. And so that is an area that's very unique and different in how we run our business. Then we think about how do we cascade and bring our members along this journey as well. And so being a membership platform, we have the unique benefit that we have over, 1.5 million members that are heavily engaged with our own ecosystem and our own channels. So we use our on-site, our CRM, even our organic social channels to really communicate not just these big goals that we're setting out for our mission, but the micro steps along the journey that are helping us get there and really focus on humanizing the stories of the people that we help. And those humanizing efforts of the stories are ways that our members start feeling more and more connected. We also then figure out ways like how can we measure that they're getting the right message. And so we, over the past year, have done a full audit of the entire experience and really try to embed not just in like the marketing campaigns and materials, but the day-to-day ordering experience. Like, are they aware that their order was shipped from a zero waste fulfillment center? Are they aware that this is a carbon neutral shipment? We don't do air shipping, for example. And we embed that in your order SMS. We embed that in your order email, so you're getting these reminders constantly that you are really being a more smarter and more sustainable shopper. And as a result, every quarter, we then check back with our post-order survey results to see how much of that mission is being played back, right? So we have a whole way of orchestrating it that it is not just part of the marketing, but it's part of the experience. And it is consistently being communicated and it's consistently being measured. And we're also asking feedback from our members on what do they value more, which areas do they want us to see more effort on the mission. And so based on that, we're constantly fine-tuning it. And so one other area, for example, has been disaster relief. That's been a key area where our members do want to, again, vote with their dollars. And so when we see Hurricane Milton or Hurricane Helen happening, we then immediately, within 24 hours, shift our donate to checkouts to these disaster reliefs. And our members really love that. And we see that because we see their dollars increasing and we get a substantial amount of increase in donations from our members because they want to vote with their dollar and they want to help with those mission moments. So it all kind of comes full circle on how we, set the right goals, how we communicate them, how we embed it beyond marketing into the experience, and how we're constantly doing real-time marketing with our members on what we're doing.
Yeah, I love what you said about, the information about your zero waste efforts, about your sustainability efforts are being communicated in every way possible to the customer. And, you mentioned that you did an audit. So how do you know that that those messages are resonating with customers? How do we know that that message is well, yeah, let's leave it there. How do we know that that message is resonating with customers?
Yeah, so I mean, so that's kind of what I was alluding to is we do these quarterly surveys through our operations team where post every order we ask for feedback. So we ask for feedback not just in the order, but also on aspects of our mission, like what is really registering. So we're able to track and see which aspects of our mission are they really seeing and registering. We even use our entire box as real estate for our mission. So everywhere you'll see consistently our mission is being spelled out, but then different attributes of our mission are also coming. So when you do the unboxing, you're getting it. When you're getting the SMS, you're getting it. And then in these post surveys, we're tracking and seeing what are they playing back. And so by doing it and then also by tracking it, we're able to constantly see how much progress we've made and then really understanding our mission.
Yeah, and then that fuels you to go even further and kind of harness your mission and come up with kind of new ways to engage these customers, back to what you were saying about kind of humanizing the stories of, what is resonating in terms of sustainability with these customers. So that's great.
Exactly, exactly.
And I love what you said about acts versus ads. Like if you don't have an action behind what you're marketing, then there's no point in putting that advertising in. That's just a clever bit of advice that I think we should see more and more companies doing, right?
No, absolutely. In fact, sometimes when we're reviewing even like social assets, I will always, remind our team, make sure we have talked about what we did first, right? Before we ask anyone to do anything, before we even ask, for them to donate, we should remind them what all have we donated, what all have we done as a company, because it starts from us first. We want to be setting the example. We want to be the role model and saying, here are the steps that we are doing as a company. So I remember when we first set up our COVID relief fund, our CEO donated his entire salary that year, right? And that was such a bold statement. Our thrivers, who are our employees, they rose up and donated their dollars and their hard-earned money as well. And so we did those steps first before we went to our member community to ask for them to donate as well and join us in this movement, right? And that
Hmm.
created this sense of like community. It created this sense of I want to be part of this bigger goal. And as a result, our fundraising efforts just continually multiplied and we were able to reach our goal faster because we were able to do it in this like, grassroots way where they're seeing other people doing it and you want to be part of that, right? And so for us, it's always been about what actions are we taking? What actions are our members taking? What actions can we have the industry take, right? And how do we kind of galvanize all of that together because we have seen the effect of that be 1 + 1 + 1 = 10, right?
Hmm.
And so yeah, I love that we do that, and it's been a real point of difference for how we think about mission activism in today's real life marketing world.
Yeah, that's incredible. So let me stay on this sustainability track for a little bit longer. Thrive Market wants to be the world's first climate positive grocery store. What does that mean, and how are you getting there?
Yeah, so I mean, this is it's a bold statement, quite frankly. And it's very true to our DNA, right? From the start of this company. I mean, I even remember when I first walked into the office, there were no garbage cans, right? There was a recycling bin that we did not use any paper plates. Everything went back into the dishwasher. It was very communal. You could feel when you walked in this is a sustainable environment. This is an environment where we're thinking about every single step of what each individual can do. And so being in this space, in this industry, we put out this bold statement of being the world's first climate positive grocery store because we believe there is a better way for us, each of us as business leaders and owners to do our business better. And if we don't think about carbon footprint actively, we are not going to make progress. And so the EU is setting really the high bar and the standards here, where it's not just good enough to offset carbon. You really have to eliminate carbon. And to do that, you have to then sit down with your operations, your fulfillment teams, and really rethink how we are setting our business up, right? And so for us, it's been shifting away from these, offset credits that anybody can just buy, but really thinking about how do we pursue solar power energy? How do we pursue electrification? How do we set up our new fulfillment centers right from the day one, right? And
Right.
so these are all, they are harder projects for us to do, but they are right projects and there are better ways to set up the business, right? And so our mission teams works very closely with all the operations teams to map out all of these areas, right? The other one is like, zero waste. It's not good enough to just say we're zero waste. We actually have to complete a whole amount of regulation to get certified. But that 11th mile makes sure that we have done all the right steps to truly be zero waste, right? B Corp and being a public benefit corporation was another example of, we really are thinking about this from a sustainability lens first and doing all the right action steps to get there. And so to me, this bold statement is there as a reminder that we have a bigger purpose than just, hitting our business metrics and goals. We collectively, as industry leaders, need to figure this problem out and need to start having businesses set up this right way. And it's a choice, everything is a choice. But what I am most excited is to see that leadership coming from our CEO, the commitment coming from our CFO. So it is a shared goal across all of the executive teams to really be committed to sustainability in this way.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It is a choice. And so, in that sense, there's probably a lot of business leaders that are listening and saying, well, that's great, but how do you kind of prioritize, how do you balance these priorities when, you've got to make some sacrifices and you don't want to hurt the bottom line and there's all of these other competing priorities? How do you decide that this is going to be a priority and that this is a choice and that you're going to sacrifice in other areas?
Yeah, I mean, it all starts with you have to make it part of your company goal. And I see a lot of businesses where the mission is not well articulated at the company level. So the
Hmm.
mission goals are not articulated at the company level. So just like we're so clear on our profit goals, we're so clear on our revenue goals, we have to have that level of clarity starting, from the top, on the company goals for what are going to be the key mission goals as well. And a large part of it is tied to your brand values. And so, 5 years ago when I came in, one of the first exercises we worked on are what are going to be our five key values, and sustainability was in one of them. And so one of the tough decisions we made from the start of the company was that we are not going to airship because it has 5 times the carbon footprint. Now you can argue, but consumers want things immediately. But we have created that culture, right? Like companies like Amazon, etc., they have created that expectation that you can get things in an hour. Is that the
Hmm.
best solution for our environment, especially if you're only ordering one product? No, it's not, right? And so it's a choice we've made to not airship or to send onesies. So you do need to have at least 5 to 7 products to get a box. And we think that that's actually a better lesson to teach to our children, to teach to our members, that this is a value that is as important to getting, healthy and convenience. It's a conscious convenience. It's not just convenience for convenience sake. It's a choice. We'll still get you your products in 2 to 3 days, and we think that's reasonable. So you have to have these tough conversations, right? I do think in today's world, it's being able to be transparent and decide which areas you're going to invest in and which areas you're not going to invest in, right? And why. And so we aren't trying to be, best in class in everything, but the areas that we have picked, we have been very choiceful and have agreed to invest in. And then the other one, I would say, it does require more out of the box thinking, but there are
Hmm.
ways that you can actually save dollars. So it actually adds to your bottom line. So when we were redoing our box, for example, we wanted to have our box be recyclable and recycled. And, those materials sometimes can cost more. But what we learned is by really kind of auditing the entire landscape, we found suppliers who were able to make it cheaper for us, just as resilient. And it came with some marketing requirements. We could not have, 4-color printing. But guess what? Do we really need 4-color printing on our box? Our box actually only has 2 colors right now, and I think it looks fantastic. It looks more sustainable, super on brand, and our creative team did an amazing job. And we saved a lot of money by not going for a box that had so many colors and bells and whistles. And now we have a box that still is on brand, looks amazingly well designed, and we save dollars, right? So there are ways by, again, pushing yourself, thinking out of the box that you can have still an impact on the bottom line, but you're more sustainable.
Hmm.
Sometimes we're not asking the right questions. And so it goes back to like, did we ask the right questions? Did we push ourselves hard enough to find the right suppliers? And that's where mission-driven brands do require mission activist type leaders because they do want to go the extra mile, right? And so It does start with the people you hire. If you don't hire those people, they're not going to fundamentally help you change your business towards those sustainable goals.
And what I'm hearing you say is it really does come back to if you have people that are willing to commit to the vision and the mission. I mean, it's one thing, for example, to put, sustainability as one of your key values. It's another to say, you know what, we're not going to airship because that's 5 times the carbon footprint. And that's how we're bringing it back to our value of sustainability. And you're proving to your customers that that is what is important to you. You're not just saying that sustainability is one of your core values and leaving it at that.
Exactly. It all has to go back to the actions and the business decisions you're making to make those actions come to life.
I love that. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about you in the time that we have left. You mentioned that you have been here 5 years now. So walk us through. I know you've been in retail pretty much your entire career. So how did you end up at Thrive Market? What was going on before you got here? And then how did you get to be CMO?
I feel like I've done the whole gauntlet now. So I started my career at P&G, where I worked on truly omni-channel brands like Pantene and Wella and Crest and Pampers. I had my son, and that has been a big inflection point because I think once you become a mother, you start thinking about what you're putting in on around your body. You start thinking about your life choices and your career choices. And it became very obvious to me that, I could spend another decade and a half at P&G, retire very comfortably, but there was something more, both in my career and life, that was missing. And I wanted to really work at a mission founded brand. And so at that time, I had a lot of baby and beauty experience, and the Honest Company just made a ton of sense. It was both an area where I had experience, but it was DTC. And at that time, it was half DTC, half retail. So I shifted to the Honest Company. It was a very tough transition because I had a 4-month-old baby. Kind of mentoring guidance I will give to female leaders out there is sometimes we box ourselves a little bit and say it's not the right time and I can't do it. I asked the other question. I said, how do I make this easier on myself? And how do I get the support to do that transition? And so I got a lot of support from my mom, my mother-in-law, my husband. They all chipped in and we made the move from Cincinnati to LA. I worked at, the Honest Company for about 2 years when I met Nick Green. And I was even more impressed with Thrive Market because now we're talking the food space and what goes in your body mattering even more. And this mission felt even bigger than anything I had worked. It felt like a life calling to me. And so made the shift in late 2019, 6 months before the pandemic hit us and everything went to remote. But it was the most incredible both life and career journey joining Thrive Market. And so Thrive Market, I felt it's just, being a mom, thinking about what I'm putting, in my kids' bodies now, it just extended even more, right? And today I feel like the reason why I've been at Thrive for 5 years, it has not felt like a job. It has felt like truly an extension of my lifestyle. I'm trying to live this healthy and sustainable lifestyle. Now I have a partner to do it, and I get to spend my time doing it too during my career. And so it has been so much more than a job, right? And so that has kind of been my in a gist journey. And so at this point, I've done omni-channel, I've done D2C and retail, I've done now with Thrive pure D2C. So it's been an incredible journey and experience to see all of these standpoints.
That's awesome. That sounds great. So it sounds like you're, a working mom, and it sounds like this place gives you a lot of balance. I was wondering what your kind of non-negotiables are when it comes to work-life balance.
Yeah, so I have this literally talking about it yesterday. We were talking about work-life balance with some of my teams and how I navigate and manage it. And I have this motto of what I call rituals and rhythm. And I think it is about understanding both your daily rituals. What do you do in your day? But then how do you plan out the rhythm of your year, right? And like we're in marketing. We plan out our entire calendar down to the month, the week, the day. We know everything that's going to happen. When is it going to happen? But a lot of us don't do that with our
Right.
lives, and that's the irony of it. And so with me, I have found, with 2 boys, a husband, we're both working, that I need to have an annual rhythm. I know I need to take time off, for a holiday once a quarter. I also know that I need to do daily rituals. And so I'm a strong believer that you can't change something unless you do it every day. And so I work out every single day. That way, if I am sick one day, it doesn't matter. I'm fine the other 6 days, right? And so I start my day with physical before mental. That's a key ritual for me. And I feel I'm so much more productive when I've done something physical before I get to my laptop, like this technology and this overstimulation. Like people wake up and they're on their phones. I put my phone, it's a key ritual, outside my bedroom. I don't even want my phone in my bedroom, even off,
Right.
right? It just should not be near me because I don't want to wake up and be on my phone and checking things like that. So I have to actively get out of bed and go to my phone to get it. That's another key ritual, right? And, staying hydrated, movement, it should be something that you're not just doing one off, but like doing throughout the day. So I love doing another ritual towards the end of my day where I take my kids out for a walk because I want them to also be moving throughout the day and they're both active. And just, that glass of water like every hour, just reminding myself. So these are key rituals that I feel like help me stay focused. I'm also very, very rigorous on OKRs or goals for myself and my team, constantly prioritizing, constantly reprioritizing. And I aim to not work at 100%. I aim to work at 80%. That way, if there's a crisis, there's something I need to have my hands on, I have the time and capacity. And I also am there for my kids. So I put my kids' events into my calendar and I treat them like meetings. So if they have a school play, a recital, a show, guess what? I'm at my kids' meeting and it's as important as any other meeting, right? And so once you plan it out like that, you actually realize you have more time and you're able to shut off. And I shut off every day at the same time. I'm never working countless endless hours and the business results are always great. And so you have to find these rituals and rhythms that work for you that make you able to complete all the roles that you're going to be going through in life. And so that's kind of my way of handling it all.
What does it look like for you to work at 100% versus working at 80%?
So working at 100% means my entire calendar would be blocked nonstop, right? Full of meetings, activities, etc. And I have no time for think space. Working 80% means you have time to think, time to reflect. And I block out that time so no one can take it, right? So I already have chunks of time that are on my calendar that you have to ask for explicit special permission, i.e. a crisis to use that time. And so that way I have time for thinking, digesting, reflecting on areas and not having to feel that I am, 100 or 110%, in which case I'm working weekends, etc. And you don't need to have to do that. And I also have a different work philosophy, which I think leads to this 80 versus 100. And this is polarizing, I don't think people should just work hard. I think people should really focus on working smart. You could be doing, 100 tasks, but they don't move the key output metrics that your business needs. You could do one amazing big task and it moves your output metrics 10x. And so I encourage my team, especially when I see them meandering and there's like endless, kind of working hard going on. I take a step back and be like, is there a smarter way for us to cut through this and get to same or even bigger impact? And there always is, there always is. And this work smart philosophy has been one where now in the marketing team, we spend a lot of time saying no, just we are not going to do this. And here's why not. Or we thought this was going to be a big project, but as we got into it, we reprioritize. It's no longer going to be a big project, right? We are very transparent about that, right? So the ability to work smart, the ability to say no, the ability to reprioritize, and the ability to empower your team, expect more and extract out of them from their thought leadership. I think it all accumulates that it's not just the leaders who should be working at 80%. Everyone should be at their 80%. If we're all at 100%, then we will be burnt out, right? And so I think it's harder when you come into the company. I remember working late night hours and working weekends. But sometimes I look back at some of the things I was working and I'm like, could I have worked smarter there? Could I have worked earlier there? Could I have planned ahead? Right? And planning, people don't realize, is actually where the name of the game is. And so another quote from me is great marketing doesn't come from great marketers. Great marketing comes from great planners. And I've consistently seen those marketers who plan ahead, their marketing's always great.
I love that. You mentioned rituals and rhythms, and you said rituals is more kind of like your daily habits, and rhythms is more kind of a rhythm for the year. So I'm curious if we can do this exercise. We're nearing the end of the year. So are you looking at your rhythm for 2025? And if so, what does that look like?
I am. And so this year's rhythm got changed. We had a bit of a surprise haul in our rhythm. So we are a very seasonal business, being in the health space or the health and wellness space. And typically we see starting from literally December 26th through Q1, that is our peak
Right.
season. This year we got surprised. We unlocked a whole new peak season, which was Q3, back to school. And the reason for that is a couple of things. One, we have been focusing on what we call wellness champion parents. So parents who are really into this like health and sustainable space. And for them, the new year is actually not January. It is August and September when they go back to school. Everything they're getting for their kids, their snacks, their food, their meal, they are just, down and ready to like buy all those things, right? And so our back to school campaign was just crushed it, right? We talked a lot about healthy swaps, better products, what to buy, what to avoid. We also launched our quality standards campaign where we talked about there are 10,000 harmful chemicals out there. Thrive Market restricts over, 1,000 plus harmful ingredients. We vet every single product for you. We're really, really rethinking the game on quality standards, and that really resonated. And so when I think about rhythm for this year, Q3 was actually a bigger peak season than even Q1. And so as I'm planning for next year, I know that. I know already that my Q1 and Q3 are going to be super busy. So I am already planning, downtime right after those in Q2 and Q4, and already thinking about, okay, how do we plan ahead? So we are actually planning for Q3 of next year, believe it or not, now, so that we can really make it monumental, make it bigger, but also have enough lead time to really get the planning and the process right. Because, we didn't plan for it to be that big, so we got surprised. Now we're going to plan for it to be 2x as big, right? So the rhythm's going to be different. We learned it this year. And so now we can plan around that new rhythm with those new two peak seasons for Thrive and really making sure we get the downtime in between those two quarters.
Yeah. Do you have a word or a mantra that you set every year? Just in terms of like how you're going to address the year, how you're going to tackle, 2025. We were just on a peer group call with some of our members and they talked about, a word to summarize 2024 and a word to summarize how you feel about 2025. So I don't know if you're one of those people that kind of sets a word or a mantra for the year, but if you are, I'd love to hear it.
I don't have a word in particular, but if there was a word, to me, it is, it has always been about
Mm.
balance, right? Like life is a balancing act. When you're out of balance, everyone can tell, but you're not at your best. You're not at your peak performance, right? And so, healthy is such a personal word, so we often say there's no right way or wrong way to do healthy. You do healthy your way. That's been a big mantra at Tribe, and we're just your trusted partner to get you there. But healthy is also a lot about balance, right? It's not just about food, right? It's about your holistic lifestyle. Food is a big component, but it's your energy level, it's your meditation, it's mindfulness, it's mission related career and work. It's all of these things. It took me 20 years, quite frankly, to figure out how to get to my balance, right? And when I was off in the first 5 or 10 years, I struggled a lot. I had major stress management issues. I would come home and just be venting for 30 minutes from work. Believe it or not, in the last 5 years, I can count on my left hand how many times I've been stressed out, right? That is very rare. And that to achieve that level of balance or mantra of balance, it takes a lot, right? You have to feel you're in control of your business. You're in control of your career. You're in control of your health and lifestyle. And if you're not in control, you can't be in balance, right? But once you realize you are, then there really shouldn't be much stress, because even if the business goes down, even if you're unhealthy one day, you know how to get it back on track, right? You know the steps to get back there. And that's kind of what I coach my team. Like, don't be stressed out by what happened today or what happened this week. We've got a marathon here to run, right? And so let's not make it a sprint. So make it a marathon. Think about your balance and know that you know the steps to always come back on track. Whether you get sick or your business gets sick, we can always bounce back. So that's kind of my mantra for every year, not just next year.
I love that. So in the last few minutes we have, I want to ask you one more question. And it's on, redefining the CMO role, which Forbes recognized you for doing so. So I would love to hear your take on how you see the role of the CMO evolving in today's, changing retail landscape.
I mean, I think there are three key ways I see it really being redefined. I think the first one is, you're the mission visionary, right? Like the mission may have started from the founders, from the company, but it's the CMOs who are telling that narrative of that mission. And I remember working on the first brand book, and the mission was on page 30. And I was like, oh, absolutely no, this needs to be the first page. The first thing people see is the mission, and they see the why behind the mission, the origin story, like what is the story behind this company? And in the end, marketers are storytellers. And what do people remember? They remember stories, right? So we are the mission visionary. We are the inspirational catalyst for that narrative and for that action step to happen. And without us, it just doesn't galvanize across the organization. The second one is CMOs no longer just own business metrics. We own the end-to-end experience, right? So beyond the revenue, beyond the profit, of course, we own those aspects and areas. We have to think about the entire member journey, how we're building their lifetime value, but more importantly, down to the dirty things like what is our delivery time? What is the customer service wait time? What are some member pain points? Why aren't they ordering? Like, what is going on? Like, we have to really think about the experience and think about it in ways where it's not about absence of a negative. Like, to me, getting the right product at the right time at the right place, that's table stakes. It's about how did we delight them? How did we exceed their expectations? So if they were expecting something, how did we go above and beyond with our customer service or unboxing or our personalization efforts, right? So that's another big key end, and we're in the fact restructuring a little bit to have a single threaded leader owning the experience and looking at it versus, in the past it's been like, trying to galvanize different people across all different teams. We're now going to have one single leader in marketing who's going to galvanize all this team. But in the end, it's going to be a clear vision across the entire experience. And the last one, which is the fun of it and the beauty of it as well, is we're not just leaders for our own brand and leaders for our own company, but we are actually a catalyst for industry change, right? Especially when you're in these spaces like we are, like on healthy and sustainable, we need to be pioneering the way, not just for our company, but for others to follow, right? So the EBT SNAP example I shared was great, not just for us, but it was great for everyone. Let's get all on the same bandwagon and do what's better for our country, better for our mission, and better for our consumer. And we're all going to win that way. And that's the fun fight, right? Like, what are the things that are tied to your mission that you need to go and make industry change? You should be the catalyst for that. And there are so many CMO leaders. How do we work together? And so one of the things we do is we do like quarterly and half-yearly summits with a lot of our third-party brands, because we have like over 200-300 brands on our site. And so a lot of them have great ideas too. And how do we cross-share and learn so that we can each be, leading the industry for positive change in these areas? And so to me, those are the three ways that CMOs are now truly redefining, being the mission visionary, owning the end-to-end experience, and being an industry catalyst for change.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's all about the story, and the best person to tell that story is a marketer. So 100% agree with everything that you just said. We are out of time. I will say our producer Christina and I are over here fangirling about you and Thrive Market. So thank you so much. We can't wait to see what's next for you and for Thrive Market. And we really appreciate you coming on here.
Thank you so much. And we equally really appreciated having me and Thrive Market here. And this was an awesome session. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening. For more information on this podcast, please go to womeninretail.com/podcasts for show notes. Women in Retail Talks is available on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and Spotify. Make sure to subscribe on our podcast channel page as well. If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a few moments to rate and review our show. Lastly, if you're a female retail leader interested in joining our community at Women in Retail Leadership Circle, visit womeninretail.com/apply. Thanks, and until next time, this has been Women in Retail Talks.